Okay guys, so I want to show you the Wusik Master plugin and standalone application, which is a frequency analyzer and also mastering tool with Equalizer and other stuff that I'm going to explain in a bit. And I have changed the name, it was something else, and someone pointed to me that was not a good name, and it wasn't. So I changed it to Wusik Master. So it's MSTR, but you just read as master. And right now I'm inputting some audio to it. And it's doing the frequency analysis. But I want to show exactly what's going on. So at the bottom here, you can see that it goes from 20 Hertz, so that's the base, and I go to the mid and the highs above 20 kilohertz. So each of the lines in here can turn off the grid if you want, but each of the lines represents a certain frequency. And this is the standalone version, and it works pretty much like the plugins version. You can add to your projects, and on the master section of your project, before the audio is output, you can add this as an effect, and it's going to show you the frequency analysis when you start playing your project. So right now the output is not selected, so I can't hear the sound, but I can see the frequency analysis. It goes from the bottom bass, mid and highs, and I can disable the grid if I want, but it's still going to show me a square for each level of each of the frequencies. So what is this used for? You can use this to check if your mix is not saturating, let's say the bass, a certain frequency, or even missing some of the highs. So I can use the average here. Right now it's not average, and if I click average, it's going to show me the average for a few seconds. I can click again and it's going to show me a very slow average. But the greatest tool is the max option, which is going to show the maximum value, the maximum amplitude or peak for each frequency. So if I pause my audio, I can check out what is going on in here. And there is a thing that people do. It's the pink noise mastering. So let me show the pink noise, what it looks like. So first the white noise. This is what the white noise looks like. It's very uniform distributed, and we can also hear it if I click here, test sounds and output. So sorry for the loud noise. And if I go to the pink noise, let's hear it. You can notice that the pink noise has a more distributed frequency per octave. So you can see here is a 3 decibels per octave. So it runs down. So you hear more the bass than the highs. Let's hear again. So there you go. So if I draw a line here, I can click on the 3 decibels per octave, and you can see the line that's drawing there shows to me that the pink noise has a very perfect mix ratio. And some producers, actually a lot of producers, use this to mix the track. So if you play a very professionally mastered track, you can notice that it's being mastered using this pink noise rollover, let's say. It's not rollover, it's decay, I guess. And the 3 decibels per octave shows that. At 0, the position is going to try to figure out where to show. But if I raise the button, the knob, with right click I can fine tuning to really match the pink noise. So I'm using the right click to fine tune the knob position. So you can see that the 3 decibels per octave is really what the pink noise is all about. So let's stop the audio here. I'm going to put offset to 0 so it stops the audio without resetting the max values. And if I use my mouse, let me remove the 3 decibels and do it again. If I move my mouse over a peak, a maximal level, it's going to show me the time since the last reset, and also going to show me what the other levels were when this particular level was picked. This is more handy when you're using with a file, because you can also load a file in here, which I'm going to do in a minute. So you can see that, and if you click it, all the yellow levels are going to go to the blue levels. So this was the peak at time of 3 seconds since the last reset. So this is handy when you're looking, let's say you have a big peak, and you want to know when that peak happened, and you are dealing with a file that you processed and you don't want to listen to the whole file and look for the peak when it happens, you can use this. If you click reset, it's going to reset all the levels. You also have the white noise Gaussian, which is a different type of volume distribution. You also have the sine sweep if you need to check some frequencies on your monitors, or even your ears if they are really responsive to all the frequencies that the sine sweep is going to do. So it's really going to do a sine sweep in here. I'm not going to turn on the audio because this is very loud. Let me think. Now, let's go to the pink noise again. So this is the pink noise, okay? Now we have the scale option. And the scale option is very handy because I can create my custom scale if I want. Go to the edit custom scale. And I can scale just the frequency display, not the audio itself. So this has some use. Let's say, let me end editing. I'm going to go to the pink noise scale. So now the pink levels are really linear now. So if I go here to the maximum values again, and let it run for a bit, you're going to see that it's making a very horizontal linear line instead of the decay line, the 3 decibels, instead of this guy with an angle line. So this is easier to mix if you're doing a mix down, because you can see things more on the same level if you want. But this is just optional, it's just one way of mastering. And what happens if you have a sound that's too loud? You can check on an original song how to adjust that, the volume, the equalization, or you can turn on the equalizer, which has several bands and they are fixed, and you have a high and a low pass filter too. Remember, if you want to do some fine adjusting, you just right click it or shift click and drag. And the same goes to the frequencies because they are very sensitive. Let me reset my maximum values again. So I added a bit of frequency here near the 1.2 kilohertz. You can see that I added a lot. And if I click the button below it, it's going to turn white and it's going to be a narrow frequency adjusting. And if I click again, it turns off the equalizer, or you can just click reset here and start all over again if you want. Another thing about the maximum value is the one button that you can right click it and select auto reset. And right now it's select for new input after settings. So let's say you are working on a project, you hit stop and you wait a few seconds for the average to go down to 0. And then the next time you stop is going to reset right away the maximum values, and also is going to reset the time values show for the maximum values. The time when you put the mouse over each of the peaks. And also can be every numbers of seconds. So let's say every 4 seconds, and it's going to auto reset. This is very handy when you're working with a file instead of project. You can loop a certain part of the file and try to adjust the equalizer there. And let me see what else. We have the grid, you can turn on and off. We have the clip, which is going to show a line where the maximum level happens. And it's just like the maximum levels, but shows a line for the clip. Also shows here on the peak and on the view meter. And if you move away from 0, you can adjust where the line goes, and anything above that line is going to show as red. If you put on 0, it's going to do automatically, and no red values are going to show. Let me turn off the maximum. And now let's load a file. Turn off the pink noise. Now I'm going to load a file from a Japan audio CD I have. So it's a very long file, has 3 minutes and 6 seconds. You can see here at the top. And if I click play here, or if I click anywhere on the waveform, it's going to play from that portion. And it's going to compute the max and everything else that I have set up in here. But I can also select file loop and select, let's say, 4 seconds. And now I can click and it's going to loop for 4 seconds. And my max is also set to reset on every 4 seconds. So it's very handy, and you can move anywhere you want. And if you right click, it stops, or you can also do a play and stop here at the top. And you can adjust the equalization any way you want. So let's say I want to add more bass, I can adjust here on the bottom. That's a lot of bass. So it's very good to be very bassy. I'm not showing the audio because this is copyrighted audio, but the idea is to understand the interface and how to work with it. So if I go here to my scale and then go to pink noise scale, let me reset my equalizer. You can start to see that this particular audio has a lot of peaks that are way above the other frequencies, because this, if you listen to this, you can really notice that. So let me try. I can go here on the limiter, and I can adjust the gain of the audio, and it's going to be much louder, but the limiter is going to act as a boost converter, because it's going to limit the audio while everything else goes up in volume. So you can adjust the gain of the equalizer, which is just the gain of the whole audio before the output, and adjust the limiter just by turning it on. And as soon as you turn the limiter on, it's not going to peak anymore, because it's never going to allow any audio above near 0 decibels to go out. And at any time, I can also render this file. Let's say I have added a lot of equalizer stuff to the file, and I want to render the file. So I can just go here and select render file, and it's going to create a new wave file. It's going to ask me where to do that. Another thing you also can do is process the file for the maximum frequency peaks, but that takes much longer because it has to do all the frequency peaks every number of milliseconds on the file. So it's a very slow process. You can see the view meter is going very crazy here because it's doing this internally, but very fast as it can. I'm not going to allow it to end because it takes a long time because this file is very big. So let me load a new file. I'm going to load a much smaller file. I'm going to process the file. It's still taking a longer time because it's not so small, but you get the idea. So another thing you have is the snapshots. So let's say you are working with the file and you want to take a snapshot of everything on the screen. You just go snap, and there you go. It takes a snapshot. It's there, and you can also go to another portion if you want, or change the equalization, do another snap. And now I have 2 snap files. I can go from one to the other just with the right click, to click quickly A and B if I want, and I also can overlay both at one on the top of each other. In this case, it's not helping me much, but depending on what you are doing, it can help a lot. And be sure to remove all the snapshots if you are not using, because it takes a lot of space on the project. It will save on the project, but it does take some space. And I think I covered pretty much everything. You can check the version here on the Wusik logo. I'm going to show the version and the compile date and hour. ST is for this. I'm running the standalone. And everything else is pretty much easy to understand. One last thing I forgot to mention is you can resize everything in here. Just go to the bottom right here. You can see some triangles there. Just click the triangles and drag, and you can resize to any size you want. Just keep in mind that the grid may look a bit funny depending on the size, because those are very thin lines. So you can see as I reduce the size, the grid looks a bit strange, but everything else should look okay. And the real size of the interface, because this is an image, PNG file, the real size is 1900 of width. The height I don't remember exactly, but it's very large, so it should look okay in most computers, monitors. And another thing to mention, the equalizer, you can save and load equalizer file. It saves as WEQ file. Another one. Oh, the scale, you can also save and export and import the scale file if you need. And I think that's pretty much it. You get the idea of the whole interface, and I will try to make a more hands-on use of this in my next musical project. Then I'm going to make a video on how I use it to really master the song, to really adjust all the frequencies and see that nothing's really getting too loud compared to the others and stuff like that. So I think that's it for this video. I hope you like it, and Don't forget to leave some comments and hit the subscribe and like and everything that YouTubers always say. Thanks for watching.